Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me today is Sal Segala and our guest, the 2025 ARCA West Series champion, Trevor Huddleston. Welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thank you guys for having me on. It just felt like yesterday we were talking just after that Kern race, and here we are now. Time has flown by.
It has flown by, and you've had an amazing season. I know Sal's going to get our interview started here, so I'm going to pass the baton over to Sal right now.
First of all, congratulations on the championship. I know it's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of ups and downs throughout the years to get to this point where you're at. But the amazing thing is that the team, through all these years, has stuck together. Which was the main core, which is you, your dad, Jeff, and then of course your team, which we'll talk about later. With that, how does it feel to be the 2025 not only the ARCA champion, but it was also on a weekend where we crowned the Truck Series champion, Xfinity, and Cup Series, and this will never happen again since next year they're going to Homestead for the all the rest of the championships.
Yeah, it made it beyond special, right? Because Phoenix is a place that you get to usually only go to on like a video game, and never in a million years did I think we were able to do burnouts down the front straightaway. So to accomplish that feat and to do it there in front of all those fans and all those people and everybody from the upper three divisions, it made it beyond epic. There were so many people who came up to me during all of our post-race things. I was able to speak with Ross Chastain and Joe Logano and just a lot of the Ford executives and all those bigwigs of NASCAR were able to be there. So it just elevated the celebration and elevated the tremendous feat it was, right? Just being there and getting to spend victory lane at Phoenix and do the champagne, like you said, that'll never happen again. So it was super special that we were able to do it.
You know what? And actually, when we look back, at the at the road to the championship this season, it was a 12 race season. You had 4 wins, you had 10 top 5s, 11 top 10s, and never had a pole award, but yet, you still won the championship by 40 points. Talk a little bit about the season, getting to of course, the championship at Phoenix.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest difference between this year and the years before. Every year before, it just felt like we never gave up, but it just felt like nothing went our way. And even when things would go bad, it seems like we can never gain traction again. And last year and the years before were times where we would get the poles and we couldn't just finish the job. This year, we kind of sat back and said, okay, what's our problem? Is it speed? Is it longevity? What is the deal? And so we kind of put it all together, and that's kind of what set us forward. Is the polo world gets you 1 point. Winning the race gets you way more than that, right? So we set back and put our focuses really on making sure that after 150 laps, we were still the fastest car. And I don't think we ever went to a race taking away the Phoenixes where we weren't competitively running in the top 5. And I felt like every time we went to the racetrack, no matter where we qualified, I knew we had a shot to win. So that's kind of what set this season aside compared to the rest. Is no matter what happened, starting in the back at Kern and starting in the back at Colorado, we knew we had a fast car, and we just had to wait and let the race come to us after 150 laps.
And then, of course, there were those weeks, where you unloaded the car and you guys had issues. I remember Kern, you guys had the brake issue. I seen you inside the engine compartment, helping everyone, try to get the car on the track, and just it seemed like week after week there was a gremlin that followed you guys. It seemed like you couldn't just unload like most teams, go out there, practice, come back in, get ready for qualifying, and go out there. There was that gremlin that followed you throughout the whole season, and you guys were able to overcome it, to become the champion.
Yeah, like you said, the gremlins, I don't know what we need to do to get rid of them, because those things were our Achilles heel. Because like you said, it was random things. Like even this weekend, all we had to do was start practice. We didn't even have to start race. We had to start practice. And our issues didn't even start before we even got out of the trailer. our trailer lights weren't working, and the only thing that would run was our tailgate. And so luckily we were able to get the car to practice. And then all we had to do was make one lap. Well, we get in the race car, and the radio harness, which is one part that can last probably for 30 years. It's not a part that you ever change. I plug in the radio and we're getting ready to go, and I had no communication. And it was like, are you kidding me? What is going on? Like the smallest little things. But we didn't give up, and we didn't let it really upset us. We just said, okay, it's broken. What do we got to do to fix it? And that, like you said, that happened to us multiple times. Things that were so random and so far out there that you never would have imagined going wrong, and they did. But we still stuck together and knew that the car would be fast once it made it to the racetrack.
And actually there was a lot of good racing this year in the ARCA series. It wasn't like, some years past, where a lot of the races, that's single file racing. You had a lot of good battles with, I know Kyle Keller was one of them. The both of you had some good runs, and then, with some of the other drivers, getting in there. But it seemed like Jeff and Travis and, like I said, the rest of the team, they probably worked their butts off, in the shop during the week, to get the car, prepped. And then of course, like I said, you get to the track, and and it seems like things just, kind of came together.
Exactly. Yeah, it was endless, right? I mean, as you know, Sal, you when you're in a racer mindset, there is no time of work, right? It never ends. So the second you leave for the racetrack, you think, okay, that's our job is done. But it's like, nope, it's just beginning. And then the second you win the race, you're like, okay, we can take a break. And it's like, well, no, you got to get ready for the next week. And that's the winner's mindset, right? If you're sitting back and laying back and think it's all going your way, that's where you're going to start to fall behind, because there's so many competitive cars out there and so many people who are just as passionate as we are, that if you don't give it your all and work your butt off, you won't be able to end up the champion. So super thankful for everyone for helping out and making this happen.
And then you look back at, your dad, took over Kevin Harvick's current raceway this year, All American Speedway, jumped on board with Famoso, which made, your job that much more difficult, helping your dad out, at all the tracks. Not only that, but the work that Will Kozak puts in that nobody realizes, doing all the PR stuff, all the media stuff. Where did you guys find time to get together and actually prep for each race? Because during the off weekends, you were still at the track helping your dad with other duties.
Yeah, for sure. Like the work never ends, right? You got to make it happen. You have to give it everything you got. And there was definitely a lot of late nights, a lot of not much sleep nights, and getting right back after it. Because like you said, we had a lot on our plate. The high point racing is just a little aspect of what we do, right? We call that the Disneyland. That's the stuff we get to do to have fun. We don't do that to make $1 million, right? So when you work all day long on the race cars or working at the racetrack, those times where it's like, okay, we could either go out to the bar and drink, or we could put some extra hours into our race car and making it faster. And so many people dedicated a lot of their lives and their time to make that happen. So I really can't thank everybody enough, because it's truly a team sport. And like you said, I mean, Will on that side, in order to pay the bills of the racing, we had to make some money in other ways. So Willie and my mom and dad spent a lot of time at Famoso and Roseville and Kevin Harvick's Current Raceway, just making sure that there was those things to help offset the bills.
And then of course, then we talk about your crew chief, Jeff Schrader. Gosh, he's been with you forever.
Forever.
You know what, forever. I mean, with your dad, and and then of course, like I said, he jumped on board, and helped throughout your whole late model career. And then he jumped into the ARCA car. It seemed like this year you're a little bit more focused on ARCA racing than you were, with your pro late or your limited late, and I could see the focus, was more, on, hey, you know what, we need this championship.
Yeah, that's definitely a good observation. We sat back and punted this year on the ARCA program Just because it's that one thing that's always gotten away from us, right? I think Jeff as a crew chief has finished second 8 times in his career, so it kind of was like we'll call him the Denny Hamlin of the crew chief world. He was always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and it wasn't lack of effort; it was just the way that cards fell. So we knew you might not get many more of these chances, and right now, when we knew our cars were good, we got on a little bit of a roll last year, winning 2 races back to back, and we knew like there's no better time than now. So we decided to put a lot of focus into it because we knew we had the car, we knew we had the team, and everyone was hungry for a championship. We hadn't really ran for a championship for a while, and many things in late models. We definitely put all our efforts into the ARCA program, and we're just thankful it paid off.
Then of course there's the one thing a lot of people don't realize and they probably don't pay attention to. Your dad was there for all the races, but your dad never got involved as far as how the race team was run, how things played out, because you had Travis Thurkettle there to help you with the with the whether it be your lines and stuff like that he paid attention to. And then of course you had Jeff. But nowadays when you see the fathers, they're so much involved in the kids that they don't let the team do their job, which is to put you, the driver, in the best position, to win races, to have good finishes. And I know, since your dad is a race car driver himself, it's probably hard for him to just sit back and and say, okay, Jeff, here's my son, go for it.
Yeah, that's another great observation. There's a lot of times where, and it's not just with racing, but there's a lot of times with any sport where it's like the fathers kind of, or mothers, overstep in, and they're trying to live their dreams through their kids, and it kind of pushes the kid to not really do something they wanted to do. And my dad's never been that type. My dad's always been, look, I will support you in whatever you want to do. If it's racing, cool. If it's something else, even better. Like it doesn't matter to him as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So that he's kind of been like that throughout my entire career. He didn't want to overstep and steer me in a wrong direction, right? He's given me everything I have, but in a way that he knew was best. He didn't overstep the boundaries, and he didn't want to be that baseball dad, just saying why everybody else is wrong and why his son's the greatest. So that's kind of why he's in the role he's done. We've dealt with a lot of kids through the years, and we've had those parents, and usually those are the ones with the kids that don't end up being as successful. And then the kids who come to our program, and the parents understand that the reason why they're paying us is because we're the professionals. Those are the ones who end up getting far more advanced in their career. So he's played a great role in my life, obviously inside and out. Definitely couldn't have done it without him.
Then when you look at the whole High Point Racing team, it was really neat to see Tanner, your younger brother, um, how you say, get more involved. Sure, he's doing his own little racing thing, but then he really got involved with you. And then of course your sister Haley, with all the with all the different charities and stuff. And then of course your mom, she just, I mean, I know she's one of your biggest supporters. She does her thing at the track, but you can tell. I look up in the stands and she's always looking down on the track when you're racing, but then she's taking care of her duties. It's probably hard as heck for her, but it's neat to see the whole Huddleston family, all gather around each other. No matter if it's Tanner racing or if it's you racing, to see the love and respect you guys have for each other. But more than that, just the unity that you have as a family. Never once have I ever seen any of you guys argue. Never ever seen one of you point fingers at each other or raise voice at each other. It's always smiles on your faces and love. It's crazy.
I definitely appreciate that. It is definitely a family sport, right? I mean, this weekend alone, we knew it was a big weekend, and we knew that how many people were involved in making it happen. So we decided to do something a little bit different. We were able to rent a couple houses in the Phoenix area because we knew a hotel room is not a place to celebrate with family and friends. So we wanted to bring together everybody who was a part of this and helped make it happen. And we had a big barbecue and we jumped in the pool, and every one of those people that were involved in making it happen were there. We had a lot of my fiance's family, some of my cousins from North Carolina came out, and you know my dad's brother or my dad's sister and her family, and everyone came out, and we just had this huge get together. And that was kind of a super special moment for me because all of those people have been there since I started racing, and all of them have played a key role in not just my life but like my racing life. And it was epic. I mean, everything that I got to experience this weekend was beyond amazing, right? Like, just noting my brother and sister, right? It was pretty cool to see. My brother was able to bring me the championship flag, and my sister, like Sal said, she's involved with a lot of charities, and she has disease called TSC, tuberous sclerosis complex. So there's a lot of things that she's not able to do, but we were beyond lucky she was able to come on out to Phoenix and celebrate with us. So, like Sal said, he maybe doesn't see the arguing. I'm sure there is some arguing, but we just know that there's a time to argue and there's a time to make stuff happen. And so when we're at the racetrack, it's work mode.
Then leading up to the race, you went on social media and said, I'm not, even though you knew you were the champion, you just had to start the race or practice. It's not, I'm not champion, until everything's over, So, you go down, you practice, you qualify, and then the white flag comes out and checker flag. What's going through your mind at that time when you finally realize, hey, you know what? It happened.
Yeah, there was a lot of emotion, right? There was a good amount of relief because I couldn't believe that this season started way back in January, right? We're already talking about Thanksgiving, and it was New Year's when this season started. So that's a lot longer of a normal season. So that's a lot mentally that we had to go through to lock it up. So when it was finally that moment where we could take a breath, like, okay, the whole year, and we finally made it happen. But it the joy really came when I was able to hold the trophy and turn around and see all the people that we just talked about in victory lane. That's kind of when the emotions overcame me, and I was able to really celebrate because that's when I knew it was real, right? So that'll be something that's burned into my brain for a long time.
And with that, you know what? I know Sharon has some questions. I didn't want to ask you all the questions because I have a feeling I know what Sharon's going to ask you. So I want to let her go ahead and
All
ask you
right,
those
sounds good.
questions.
Trevor, I know you had such a great season, and your average finish this year was pretty darn good. I think it came in at 4.2 average finish. So that is probably one of your best years for average finish. You talked a lot about some of the things that might have made the difference and why you're so much better this year. Is there a chance that you'll be coming back and doing this again next season?
Yeah, I definitely would love to. You always want to try to defend your title. So, if all the cards go right, I don't really know where I'll be. Right, we want to keep working with this group, and we want to keep winning. So, we're definitely going to try our best to make everything happen. Hopefully, we can build our team and get a couple more cars, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That maybe you could bring in another driver and work with another driver. Would you enjoy doing that?
Of course, a good thing about a teammate is there's obviously many good things about teammates, but on a particular race weekend, you could go to the racetrack with two different packages, and you could try to fine tune those packages. And then as practice goes on, you kind of go one direction or another, rather than just a single car team. You're going there and you have to either try everything or just kind of commit with what you got. So having a teammate will, I think, all it will do is help progress this even further.
Okay. Now, let me ask you the big question. Did you bring your trophy with you so we could see your trophy?
Well, we definitely got a lot of cool stuff, but fortunately for us, they still allow us to have a big banquet. So we're going to be going to North Carolina on November the 21st. And we'll get to celebrate it all over again, right? So
Right.
it's special. We get to go back there, and we get to go to the Hall of Fame, and they really, really do a good job at making sure you feel honored. Let's just say that.
Okay. So you'll get your trophy back at that time.
Yeah, I'll definitely be sure to call you guys the second we bring it home, because we got a nice spot for it in the shop, and we're excited to put it there.
Okay, proudly, I'm sure, and well deserved. I'm real happy. I was real happy to see that you got that championship this year, Trevor. So congratulations, and I'm going to pass it back over to Sal.
So Trevor, let's talk a little bit about the team. You know, we talked about Jeff, we talked about Willie and Travis. You know, and then you have the supporting cast that have been with you through thick and thin. You know, through the ups and downs, through the highs and the lows. You know, and I see how much work they put in. You know, how much time they put in. You know, to making sure that you have a top quality race car when you go out there.
There's so many people that were instrumental in making my career happen in general, and this championship as well. Like the people you've mentioned, Jeff Schrader, Travis Thurkettle, Andy Partridge, Ryan Partridge, Will Kozak, Andy Alsobrook, Ernie, Shay, PJ, all those people have been around or involved with High Point Racing pretty much since the time I joined High Point. Obviously, I've been a part of my whole life, but really the times I can remember, all of those guys have been involved in some way or another, and so many of them have been instrumental in helping me progress as a racer. And I know every sport's a team sport, but really, I truly believe that racing is one of the biggest ones, because I mean, your crew and your crew chief is instrumental in making sure you win on a race day. And each one of those people I mentioned have been more than key at helping High Point Racing, myself, and just everything be successful. So without them, truly couldn't do it.
It's amazing when you go back through all the different drivers that have come through High Point Racing. You know, Cole Custer, you know, Dean Thompson, you know, all the way going back all the way into, I remember when Brandon Davis was always one of my favorites, coming out of road racing to get behind the wheel of a late model, and your dad and them working with them and him winning the championship, and meeting Erica and putting the "Will you marry me" on the hood. And I
Yep.
mean, you know, and all through the years, you know, we've seen all these different drivers, you know, come through your, you know, through High Point Racing's program, you know, which, you know, like I said, now, you know, now it's the sun's time to shine, you know, and
Yeah, for sure.
it's
There's
just
been
it's
a lot of people going back through the days who have been part of this program, just like the ones you said, Cole and Dean and Blaine Perkins and Dylan Luptons, the Jace Myers, the Brandon Davises. There's really been a lot through our program, and that's something we're super proud of.
so what'd your mom tell you when she finally got to you and was able to give you a hug? What did she whisper in your ear, or
You
what
know,
did
there
she
was,
yell in your ear?
yeah, right. Just that, basically the reassurance that, like, we've been working at it for so long and we finally did it, and just that we deserved it, and how proud she was. And you know, she's been a huge part in my racing, and she's a huge part of why I'm still able to be out here having fun.
I'll tell you that the burnout was epic. It was a really good burnout, but I have never seen anybody, and I'm glad I have that picture, do a burnout and catch the tire on fire like you did at Roseville.
Yeah, so we were just talking about that the other day, because my mom was the one who's got a video, and we were talking about the only video that tops the one my mom took is the picture you have at Roseville. That is actually currently on my phone, the background. And so that's the burnouts are always fun to do. I didn't do one this year in the ARCA car, so I saved it up big time for when we got to Phoenix, and I made sure I had one goal, and that was to make sure both tires exploded, and we definitely succeeded there.
Well, you know what, and it's ironic that you mentioned that, you know, you didn't do a burnout, because you guys were able to go the whole season on one motor to where all the other teams, they had it, they were changing motors like, like people are changing their socks. And your team went through the whole
One
season
motor.
with the one Robert Yates, motor, which was a spec motor. Everyone was going to Ilmore, and you guys stuck, you know, it was, we're gonna go spec the whole way. We're gonna Robert Yates engines, and we're gonna, and we're not gonna deviate from it.
Yeah, we plan on doing that from day one, and there was many nights where we were nervous, running the road course races. We weren't nervous that the engine would be the issue. We worried that the wheel spacer behind the steering wheel was going to be the issue. There's a lot that could go wrong at a road course race, and that could have been the end of our season had we lost an engine there. Because all we know, racing isn't cheap. Staying with that one motor was instrumental in helping us get to the racetrack. That gave us that extra funding to buy tires, to buy hotel rooms, to buy plane tickets. It made it the whole way, and it never missed a beat. Everywhere we went, it ran hard, ran good. And, Robert Easton Racing's amazing. And they were 100% confident, and we were 100% confident in them. And we made it happen. And, that engine, we ain't going to retire it yet. I could tell you that. We're going to have them, we're going to send it back to them and make sure they inspect it. And, we'll be running it again for sure.
Well, Trevor, I just want to say congratulations. It was a great season. The few races I was able to make, it was awesome to see you go out there. I'm glad I caught, a couple of your wins. We'll see where everything goes next year. Congratulations, Tim and Lisa, Haley and Tanner Huddleston, Jeff Schrader, Travis Thurkettle, Brian Schrader, and of course, my boy Andy Partridge, and of course, Will Kozak. Will, you're the best. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sharon.
All right. Well, I was going to tell you, Trevor, I was listening to or watching the race on Flow Racing, and Charlie Crowell, does the broadcast for those. And he heard about the pool party, and he was like, "Oh man, I wonder how you get invited to one of those." he liked the idea of the pool party.
I
bet it was.
We had a lot of fun, that's for sure. I'm surprised our party didn't get shut down because we were getting pretty rowdy.
Well, you had every right to be rowdy. So I'm glad they didn't shut it down and you had a good time. This is the time. I know you've already shouted out a lot of the folks that are on your team, but any sponsors or anybody else that you want to shout out, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, obviously I've said all my crew members and my family, High Point Racing, Race Car Factory, Robert Yates Racing, Ford Performance, Kevin Harvick, and everybody at Kevin Harvick's Current Raceway. They've all been instrumental. And there's one quick note I want to say. I'm pretty sure at the last me and Sal talked about that. If I won the championship, me and Sal would have a rendezvous at Disneyland. So
I
think
remember
me and Sal
that.
are we're gonna need to plan our Disney date because there's no better place to celebrate a championship like all the Super Bowl people than at Disneyland. So I know we're going to have a big group, and we always love going to Disney, and I know Sal likes to go to Disney. So we're going to have to make that happen, Sal, huh? We'll go ride Big Thunder Mountain now that you're backing at it.
Big Thunder Mountain, and then, like I said, we'll have 6 extra people, and we'll take that trophy. I'll talk to Bud and go into Club 33, and I know that's
extra special. I ain't even banking on that. Just going to Disneyland's good with me, but that's extra special.
Yeah, I told you from the beginning. I said you win the championship, and I'll talk to Bud, and I'll make that reservation happen. I mean, if bucket list on Disneyland, you could do everything, but to get into Club 33, you have to have that.
Oh yeah,
got to have that connection.
You have to have that extra special.
Your mom and dad loved it. They loved that day that I took them. So
well, take your camera.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take the trophy in there, and hopefully we get Noah's. Actually, they're all the waiters in there are really, really good. But I have to give Bud a text. We'll get together and we'll find one weekend, one Saturday, and then like I said, we'll have he gives me basically 8 spots. So with me and Sandy, then you'll have the other 6 to do however you want to.
Sounds good to me. Whatever happens, happens. As long as we're at Disneyland, it's gonna be a good time.
Oh yeah, it will. It will. We'll definitely have a good time out there. Have some beers,
Yep.
lots of beers,
Exactly.
and I'm ready.
All right.
Sweet. Sounds good.
All right. That's so the deal's been made, and we'll be looking for the pictures. And Trevor, we always appreciate you taking time out to chat with us and talk about your career and everything. And again, congratulations on your championship. I know it's a long time coming and well deserved. And I can't wait for the next one.
I appreciate it. We're already backing at it, working on the cars this morning. So thank you guys for having me on, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
All
Thanks
right.
again.
Any
you,
handles
guys.
on social media you want to share?
Yeah, you can always find me at TrevHud50 on all my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I'm getting better at social media, but I still got a lot of work to do. So we'll get a little bit more active on there.
You just got to
Okay.
take some pointers from Greg.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy's awesome.
Ready.
Oh man, he is awesome.
Well, he loves you too, Sal. So we're excited to get to work with both of you guys and looking forward to the future.
Okay. Well, take care, Trevor. Enjoy the off season, if there is such a
Sounds good.
thing. And we'll look forward to seeing you next season.
Great. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you later.
All right.
Bye-bye now.
Okay.
All right,
Goodbye.
bye.